I'm going in because I've got a problem, I've got a concern. How should I approach that interview? What should I have in my mind? What preparation should I make before I walk in with that feeling of vulnerability that you have, particularly in hospitals, but even at the visiting GP?
Yes, absolutely. I think preparation is a very good word. It's a very good thing to have in mind. Some things you should have with you for sure are a list of questions.
Written down.
Written down, ideally. Our mind flies out the window. There's a believe it or not, there's a special unit at UCSF University of California, San Francisco, that helps breast cancer patients prepare for their visits. And you would say, well, that's weird. I mean, if it's important, it should be all over the world and all over the nation and everywhere. But there are specific places that do that because it's labor intensive. And what they do is what I just suggested you do is prepare a list of questions because we forget. That's what we bring with us. And write down what our doctors say.
Because I don't know about anybody else, but I say, yes, thank you, doctor, thank you. Walk out the door and my mind is wiped clear. I don't remember anything from after walking through the door is the problem. So how am I supposed to actually retain some of this information?
You should leave through the window.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Writing things down is crucial. I had the funniest, or it could have been not so funny experience. I was interviewing a physician about her experiences as a patient. That always is very meaningful for me. Because I want to say, it's not the great unwashed who are confused. It's everybody who is confused, including physicians. And she's a physician, and she spoke about how hard it was for her when her doctor didn't ask her questions. She didn't say, I'm Dr. Tessa Manwin, and this is what I have to tell you, even though I'm a patient. This is my condition. You shouldn't ask me A, B, and C. She was meek. He was meek. So that's just to say the human condition. But when I spoke with her, I had my laptop, and I was typing very quickly. And I made so many spelling mistakes in the names of the conditions that she had spoken about. I got bronchitis right. Everything else was stuff I had never heard of, and I misspelled everything. Now, what prayer would I have had when I left the room, had she been my doctor, talking to me about these conditions, if I didn't have the laptop, even in the garbled condition of the words that I wrote down, I could figure it out. And I made a mistake, and it's very human, but I made a mistake of not saying, could you explain this? Could you spell this for me? Because I didn't want to appear stupid. Now, how stupid is that? That's the stupid part. It's like I always tell my students, there are no stupid questions, and here I am. Exactly, not practicing what I preach. So that's definitely something else. You have the right to understand. I mean, seriously, that's minimal. It's almost trivial, but that's something very important. There's more. So I developed something which is very important. I call it ask about what matters. And that is when we're offered something. There are 3 questions we should ask. The first one is, what are the risks? I love starting with the risks because we're so tempted by the benefits. Let's hear about the risks first. So what are the risks? What are the benefits? And what are the alternatives? Now this one I absolutely love. I mean, it's so deceptively simple. But if we train ourselves to ask about an alternative, then we will not only be in a position of saying yes, we'll be in a position of saying, what are the alternatives? And it's almost like giving someone permission to ask, because we feel that, well, the doctor suggested something. Am I undermining their authority? I didn't go to medical school. I don't know. Who am I to ask about alternatives? Maybe I'll ask my neighbor. Maybe I'll Google. Stop before you resort to these wonderful resources. Maybe ask sort of a second opinion from your doctor.
What about something I think is a good question? Is what obviously ask what are the alternatives. What about adding, and I don't just mean here, if I went somewhere else, a different city, different hospital, would I be given the same list of alternatives? Now that's what I feel is really important. I've never asked that. I've never been bold enough. I've never been assertive enough to ask it. But I do believe it's something one should ask.
It is. I couldn't agree with you more. I think oftentimes the answer you would get maybe would be, well, somewhere else they do that. That's not what we do
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
And in a way, it's important for you to know, because if you demanded that treatment here, they may not have the expertise to give it to you properly, but they would at least have to say, over there, they do it differently. And you deserve to know, and maybe it's important enough for you to go there.
And it is extraordinary how the variation between places is actually quite close in terms of what you're offered and what people do. And